Bang, bang. We are back with a tournament that has some actual professional golfers this week. I think they'll have shot trackers so we can do some showdown and have some fun. I don't really want to talk too much about last week. Last week was kind of brutal for me, at least. I know a lot of our subscribers did well, but for me, I went for a home run and it failed. It completely failed. But honestly, in the GPP, if I'm not going to get first, what's the difference? If you're not going to cash, then I'm getting last. So Dustin and I were pretty much dead last.
Terrible.
It happens. He has his Texas shirt on once again. It's been bringing some really bad juju here. Yeah. I don't know how Texas somehow came back and won that game last week. Like, how do they recover an onside kick? They give a 1% chance. Maybe we can get that 1% chance luck and have some putts roll our way. So let's get into it with Price, with the course breakdown. We're over in Jackson, Mississippi.
All right, so we're at the Country Club of Jackson. It's a 7,450-yard par 72, so you got the 4 par 5s again this week. It should play not as easy as last week, but fairly easy. I would imagine you'll see the winning score in like the minus 16 range. What you're really going to want to focus on is every single week, short game approach is always important. This one, birdie or better percentage, par 4 scoring, and then it kind of lean towards predominantly driving distance helping you out if it's a tiebreaker, because like we've discussed a handful of times, when it comes down to it, the guy who finishes top 10 in driving accuracy and 150th is one fairway around. So we'd rather have the guy who matches it 320 off the tee and has a wedge in from the rough than someone who hits it 270. And if they miss that fairway, it's going to be tough. We're back to Bermuda grass. So Sammy Burns is probably going to be in Chris's lineup because he loves him. And maybe we'll even get Chris to go out to the course and sneak in against all the rules and give us he can go chase someone down on the 18th green putting so we can win, $200,000 this week.
I mean, if that's all it took to win $200K, I would do it. I would take one for the DFS dads community.
And do that.
Tear an ACL running.
Yeah, if you don't know, I've torn my ACL not once but twice in the same knee. It's been lovely. Now I'm fat. Can't play basketball. Can barely play golf.
To be fair, you couldn't really play basketball before.
Hey man, I could shoot and I got the reach around defensive technique from Dustin down pat. All right, if you don't know, these two guys are pretty stud basketball players. Price is 6'5". He's now like a whale. He's over 300 pounds, and he's trying to bulk up right now. If you didn't know, like who weighs 310 is like I'm in the phase of bulking up. I'm like, bro, you're 310. Like, come on. What?
Get the 315 and then cut.
He's going for the mountain look.
He's over here. He's being serious. We're like legit. You can't be bulking up anymore. And he's like, no, I got to get to 315.
And for those, I mean, obviously most of you probably don't know, but Price was a string bean. I mean, he's been the same height forever, it seems. But
yeah.
I was 135 pounds in high school.
So over double that, and you get what you get today. And a massive man.
It is what it is. Chris grows just in the belly, and I'm getting muscle. We all grow differently in our older age.
If Price has to compensate for something.
Hey, Dustin was fucking Fat Thor for a whole lot of years, though. Let's be real.
Dustin was Fat Thor. Dustin worked at a bowling alley in college for a little bit and just blew up like a balloon, like
fried food and
he fucking came to play
beer.
basketball with me in my adult league when I lived in Dallas, and within 10 seconds was huffing and puffing and airballing fucking layups.
But during that time, he literally bowled a perfect game of 300 in bowling. So that's a fact, 100% fact. This man on the call, he was not wearing a Texas shirt, I'll tell you that damn much. But he bowled a 300. But Price, let's get to the top of this range here.
You already know who I'm fucking picking. It's Scotty Scheffler.
Scotty Scheffler. Is he back from the Rona? Did he
back
pass the
from
Rona?
He's
pass the
back
Rona?
2 weeks off. He's fucking number one on my model. He's number one in my heart, and he's gonna win.
11-4,
Love
11-4.
him.
He's not
Cam,
number one in putting, though. I'll tell you that.
I don't give a shit about his putting because he's great at everything else, and he should win this week and beat the piss out of everybody.
He's the best golfer for sure, by
Yes,
far.
100%.
If
And then
Cam Champ's not going to be in it, he's the best golfer.
whatever.
I mean,
Anyways, so
did you see
Louis
Cam
did
Champ last year?
Cam Champ sucks, bro. He just hits it far.
Tell that to the U.S. Open where he made me the money.
That's the 15 missed cuts he had last year. Yeah. But and then Zalatoris again. I mean, fuck it, why not, right? Wonder Kid, back-to-back top tens. He's got to keep it going in order to keep playing. Otherwise, he doesn't get invites into tournaments because he doesn't have his tour card yet. So, only way he gets to keep playing is finishing top 10.
Yep. You got to love a guy that has a little motivation.
I don't understand how Benny Ann is 10,000, to be honest. It's kind of surprising. You want to talk about bad putting. Oh, my God.
Probably because of last year. I think he finished top 5 or something.
Still.
So, I mean, yes, there are a couple better golfers than last week, but it's not heads and shoulders above. Scotty Scheffler's obviously the top dog here. So you're going to see some guys priced a little crazy compared to what they should be, I think. And yeah, you're right. I mean, to see him above Doc Redman, seems a little wacky to me, but
yeah, I'm gonna go Scottish. I'm gonna go with my gut this week. Last week I ended up going away from my boy Sammy Burns, so at 9,800, going down to this 9K range, I'm gonna play him. I really think the Scotty Scheffler Sammy Burns stack and then go down low is pretty money. But also right below that, you have another guy I'd like to play, Doc Redman. He ranks number 3 in the model, number 1 on 400 and 450 par 4s. I don't know. Birdie or Better does pretty good as well. 13 in my model. So between Doc and Sammy Burns, I don't think I can fit both in. That's going to be a game time decision. But right now, obviously, beginning of the week, I'm going to lean Sammy Burns.
Sam Burns.
Uh-huh.
We already know you're going to pick Sam Burns.
That's what everyone said last week. So then I decided to fade him last second for a guy named Norlander. That didn't work out too well.
Derrick Henry. Let's be real. You're using Sammy Burns this week.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man. Derrick Henry was money.
He redeemed himself just like Burns will, right?
I mean, Burns did pretty good except for Saturday last week.
yeah.
Who do you like in this range, Dustin?
I mean, obviously Scotty is the best golfer. He is pricey at 11.4, but if you think the guy's going to win it, and the form coming in, obviously besides the COVID stuff, he played pretty well here last year, so he has good course history too. I just think it's his tournament to lose for the most part, so I'll definitely be heavy ownership in him. Like you said, Zalatoris has the edge to do good. He has to. There's something to be said. Not every guy can rise to that occasion, but he seems like one of those that when it's nut cutting time, he's gonna perform. Hard to fit them both in. They're both 10K plus, so could get interesting depending on the build for the rest of the week. Obviously, I mentioned Doc Redman. Chris mentioned him, liked him. Sebastian Munoz won last year. Got to give him a look at 9,900. Another guy I like in the top is Zach Johnson. Obviously a bigger name in this tournament. He has played better lately than at the beginning of the year. Had a top 15 last year. So those are kind of the top guys, 9K and up, that I'm looking at. Obviously you have Ches, who we like most weeks. Terrible putter again, but so yeah, those are kind of my starting point, and then kind of dive into it a little bit after that. It seems like most of the guys at the top have finished well here in the past, or the past few years. So it's kind of interesting to see the pricing comparative to that.
What about you, Chris?
I mean, I pretty much told you who I like up there at the top, and then the 9K range, the top of that from Burns and Redmond is where I'm looking at. Someone who rates out really high in the model is Corey Connors down at the lower 9K range at number 8. But you know, early on the week, Sammy Burns and Doc Redmond are my two plays in this 9K range. And if I want to play any Scotty Scheffler and Zalatoris, any type of Burns and Doc, the rest of the 9K range, I'm going to have to completely fade.
The only other person I like is Adam Long. He kind of blew up Sunday, but I don't think he's missed a cut in 2.5 months. He's number 4 in proximity from 125 to 150. So, I mean, he rates out decent. It's just a matter of if he cannot choke. But he's also won on tour before, which should give him an edge in a field like this. But you're right. If we're going to go Scheffler, Zalatoris, Burns, the rest of them don't really matter in this range. Like Fratelli rates out top 3 in my model for some reason.
Yeah, he's top 10 in mine too. So
wow, he's 45th in mine.
I would say there's probably something wrong in yours.
Or maybe it's just letting us know we should move on from
But
these golfers.
I will say, if you're going to play Corey Connors, best of luck to you. I'm tired of that motherfucker. All he does is miss putts for me.
Tell us how you really feel.
You can go back to Canada. I'm just kidding. No, I mean, he rates out well. He's just got to put average to the field and he'll do very well for you. It's just, I mean, we all like Burns and Redmond a lot better, so why drop down?
Yeah.
Find value cheaper.
Should we take a moment? Should we take a moment and moment of silence for all the Canadian viewers out there and Pat Mayo? Pat Mayo is probably listening to this as well. I'm very sorry. Price is not sensitive enough to our fellow Canadians.
I like Canadian bacon on my pizza.
All right. Well, I went to the University of Alabama, mid 8K range, Bud Cauley. Now, he rates out not as well as I thought he would in this. I mean, he's still, I mean, he's ranked 15th, but Bud Cauley is someone that is very interesting. 8,700 is not too high for this type of field. But once again, if we're going some of those top end range guys, you got to sacrifice somewhere. And the lower 9K range and upper 8K range is definitely going to be sacrificed. So, but if I was going to go anywhere, I like Bud, Hendrick Stenson, and Luke List right at the 9K range are something to look at. It's interesting that why is Sergio Garcia playing in this tournament?
I don't know. He's been playing a lot of these, like ever since the restart.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I feel like he won the Masters. He had got married and everything, moved to Austin, Texas, and he started playing some pretty bad golf. And he didn't play a lot, and now he's playing a ton and playing the Sanderson Farms. I don't really understand why he's doing that.
Seeing that 8,600 in a tournament like this is a little.
Yeah, it kind of stands out.
But I mean, he rates terrible in my model for what it's worth.
The only thing that he rates good at to me is tee to green. Other than that, it's pretty bad.
I shouldn't say terrible. I mean, he's top 35, but for him.
Do you think he's? I mean, I feel like just from name recognition and his price will probably be pretty high owned. I haven't looked at the ownership. We'll have to something to look at. But what do you think about Sergio, Mr. Price?
Looking like 4% owned. Man, I'd rather just play Bud or Stenson than him, or drop down to. I think he's going to be super popular this week. Is Carlos Ortiz? If you look back-to-back top fours here, rates out well. Good on the par fours we're looking for. Good at DK points. I mean, what's not to like about that? So I'd rather skip Sergio, Pat Perez, Siwoo Kim, skip over them.
Siwoo? How do you wait? Why do you skip over Siwoo? Just
rates
because he
120th
blew
in
up
my
on
model.
you in that one tournament a few weeks ago?
No, because he rates 120th in my model out of 144 people.
Why does he rate so bad in this tournament? He ranks for 6th in mine. Somebody has a bad model. We'll have to figure out who it is on Sunday.
But the other people I like in this range are Cam Davis and Lucas Glover.
I like Lucas.
Lucas, I think he'll be a really good cash play, and Davis should be a good GPP play. He scores well. He's done well his last couple times out. And then I think people would rather click Patrick Rogers than him because Rogers just did well last week.
I agree.
I have to fade our boy.
Zhang?
8,000.
Zhang?
Zhang's not in the player pool this week.
I don't disagree. You know, Lucas Glover, his name is Glover. He doesn't even wear a glove. That's pretty odd. But he's ranked really high on my model at 8K. That's like I Price said, that's a great cash play. I feel like it's a safe play. He's 29th in my model.
He's 3rd in mine.
Well, kind of different there, right? 3rd in your model at 8K. I'll tell you what. Is that not an instant click?
I mean, yeah, he's great tee to green. The par 5s, you know, there's 4 of them. So
you can start with Zal Torres, Burns, Glover. Pretty good starting point there.
What about Scotty, dude? You can't leave Scotty off like that.
I don't know. 11-4 versus 10-2. That's 1,200 saving.
It's Scotty.
I mean, if you don't want the winner in your lineup, go ahead and fade him.
No, I like, you know, in all seriousness, Glover, like Price said, I think is really solid for this tournament as far as a cash play. Definitely have him. Grillo rates really well in my model, which I know Price hates, and he did well last week. So, you know, I have to look some more at him. Scrolling on down here, Davis is not great tee to green or proximity, but he rates out pretty well. Eagles gained. He's 8th. DK points, he's up there. So, you know, somebody that can score. Obviously, Bud Colley, we talked about somebody that can bomb it and score some DK points as well. So, a lot of guys. I mean, Sergio's top 35 in my model too. You know, so somebody to look at as far as you know, filling that range. It'll be interesting to see my build because I'm pretty sure I'm starting off with Scotty, and so to see, you know, how I'm gonna build it, if I'm gonna go Scotty and another top owned guy or top high end guy, or kind of drop down and play a couple 8K guys and then kind of fill in the rest. So, but I think there's some intriguing plays there in the 8,000 range that can really pop this week.
Yeah, for sure. I think the 7K range, it's a massive range of golfers, and I think this is what's going to really separate your lineups. And there's a few plays I like. At first, at 7,700, Sepp Straka. I ended up taking him out of my model at the end. He kind of fell apart. But the last 2 tournaments, the safe way, finished 14th and 33rd last week. And his price, I think, for a tournament with this type of field at 7,700. And he raced out well as in my amazing model, as we've all discussed. So I like Sepp Straka at 7,700. And then if you go way down low, you keep on going down, way down low. You don't want to. We've been talking about a lot in football. Your recency bias. It can go both ways. It can be good and bad. Last week I was all over Will Gordon. He was in every lineup. I was 100% on him, and he flopped. So I'm going to go back to him this week. He's way down there, really cheap. I like him as a golfer, as a player, 7,100. Just like Derrick Henry was in a spot to smash last week, and there's not any correlation here with football, but we went back to the well. He was in another good spot to make some hay, and he brought in 30+ points. Did really good. I think Will Gordon as a really good bounce back spot right here. So those are the 2 early targets as of now. There's a ton in this range to go over. price. Where are you at with the 7K range?
There's a bunch of guys I really like. I think another great cash play is Sabatini at 7,600.
Mm-hmm.
He rates out 12th for me, and for someone who rates out that high at his price point, you pair him with Glover in cash, you're gonna have a really good, third of your lineup built right there. Tringali's another guy I'd probably throw into a cash lineup. He's very steady, very safe. He just makes cuts, and he's done well here. I'm debating if I want to play Taylor Gooch or not. Every time I play him, he fucking sucks. But then when I don't, he finishes top 20.
Mm-hmm.
I love Gooch this week.
Like, he rates out great for me, but
and he has good tournament history.
Friday afternoon, I want to smash my phone, screaming Gooch, and my wife thinks I'm insane.
Yeah, it's amazing. With this type of field, the 7K plays are really good, and I really think that's going to allow you to play two top end guys because of how good the 7K range is.
I like Sneddy too. He rates out pretty well for me. He's 7,100. I think I'd move him instead of Will Gordon if you're going to go that price point. And then my favorite sneaky play is J.B. Holmes at 7,000 even. He rates out 35th for me overall, but I mean, he's in the grand scheme of talent in this field. I think he is just as talented as Dylan Fratelli or Brian Harmon, who are in the mid-9K range. So I think if you want to go GPP style, I don't think anyone's going to be on J.B. Holmes. And other than that, I don't really like that many more people in this range.
Yeah, so Straka's an intriguing one. Like you said, Chris, the thing that worries me is he's missed the cut twice here. Even though, he rates pretty good in my model, coming off, playing pretty well. There is some worry there. And, how much does that translate, right? Do these guys remember playing here last year and missing a cut? I don't know. But to me, probably not, but that does creep into the back of your mind when a guy's missed only two cuts he's played here. And it's not like the field was stacked here, last year. So all in on Gooch. In my lineups, it gives me the option to go in up top with Scheffler. He rates second in my model. When somebody rates that high, what I'm looking for in a 7,400, kind of got to plug them in and play. Hoffman rates out pretty well for me at 7,900. So look at him a little bit more. Another guy is Percy, who I think he plays this tournament all the time and always makes the cut. I think he has 2 top 15 finishes and is a pretty cheap play. So I think he gained 18 strokes throughout his tenure at this tournament. So, another good play there, and it's pretty nice for me especially when I'm going all in with some of those top end guys, to be able to feel comfortable playing some of these 7K guys, because most weeks you're playing a 7K guy and you're like, hold your breath, please let this guy make a cut, so. Feel a little bit better about some of my picks down here this week, but those are kind of my guys that I'm honing in on so far.
Now we get to the Davis Riley League, which I know neither one of y'all know who he is, because he's a Corn Ferry Tour fucking stud.
Bryce in the Corn Ferry Tour.
Hey, dude.
Loves it.
If you want to have the edge in fall season when guys like this come up and play, this is where you get it. He rates 21st in my model. He's 6,700. He's been smashing on the Corn Ferry Tour. He allows you to play, you can pair him with the Corn Ferry studs of Zalatoris and then Scheffler. You can fit all three of them together. I love him this week. The other guy who I don't understand how Shank went from 8,500 to 6,700.
Yeah.
I don't understand that logic.
And he played well.
He did play well. Kyle Stanley is intriguing to me. He's just very steady at 6,800. Good cut maker. Old man Von Taylor comes in top 10 on my model.
Love Von Taylor.
And I didn't want to touch him last week because he's coming off a rib injury, and of course he missed the cut. But now that he has a tournament under his belt, he comes in here. He's number 1 in bogey avoidance, 2 in birdies and bettors gains, 6 in approach, 4th in DK points, 17th tee to green in his last 24 rounds. Like at fucking 6,400, what more can you ask for?
Sure.
Yeah.
Think about the lineup opportunities you can have if you use him with Davis Riley. And then another guy who only got in because of his top 10 last week is Anirban Lahiri, who he randomly pops off in fall season, and that's how he keeps, hanging around the tour. So this is a time of year where someone like him can make some money, get some FedEx points, and try and cling to his tour card. Other than that, you gotta throw a dart and hit somebody if you're gonna dip down here. But those are the guys who I really like this week.
I mean, I think honestly, Bryce, those few players that you were throwing darts at isn't really throwing darts. I think those are really good plays, like really good plays. And then if you want to throw a dart, someone who was a tour winner this year from the Wyndham, Jim Herman, down at 6,200. That can be a tournament play, right?
Yes.
6,200, tour winner this year. I mean, he could pop off. He can at least make the cut for you at 6,200. That is not a far fetch at all, especially if at this price point, 6,200 is doable. All you got to do is get him to make the cut. I think he can definitely make the cut for you. So I'm with Price on those other picks, and so I don't want to really rehash all that. I do say what was it, 6,700? You had Davis, is that correct?
Yes, Davis and Lahiri.
Okay, well at 6,700, I guess you just skipped over your pick of last week at Norlander.
Oh, I certainly did.
Okay. Just want to confirm that you're off that Norlander train now.
He's out.
Hey, as mad as you are about him missing the cut for you and DK, he cost me winning $2,750 on Yahoo.
I'm actually not mad at it because everybody missed the cut for me, so he was just
didn't matter.
He was just par for the course. At that point, I'm rooting for everybody to miss the cut. Dustin, you got any hidden gems down here?
I think one guy that kind of sticks out to me more or less just because of course history is Mr. Robert Streb. He has 2 top 30 finishes here the past 2 years. Pretty. What is he? 6,600. So yeah, so it gives you a guy that has played here, has done pretty good here, and makes the cut. And when you're playing somebody in the 6K range, that's basically what you want them to do, is make a cut. He's a little bit intriguing for me. I haven't really dove into the 6K as much as the other ranges, but obviously some of the guys y'all are saying are pop off and are obviously good plays. And Shank, I think at 6,700, what is he? 2019 tied for 7th. Last year tied for 36, coming off a good round last week at 6,700. Just seems like a no-brainer. Makes me think, what does DK know that we don't? But yeah, so I think you can't go wrong with him there, especially in the 6K range. So, this is where you got to do a little more research throughout the week, kind of dig a little deeper. Obviously, Price with his Corn Ferry Tour knowledge popping off, and
you'll definitely want to check out that deep dive of Price's coming up, because the Corn Ferry Price is right though. That's where we find these golfers and thrive off them and just continuously pound them over a week after week until they get too expensive. And that's where I'm kind of upset that my boy Braden Thornberry from Ole Miss is still not doing good enough to be able to qualify for these events. If you don't know who he is, you probably don't. He went to Ole Miss, was player of the year, won all sorts of college golf tournaments, and actually didn't qualify, played the Memphis Open a couple years ago. Top five. He got 5th place when he was still in college. Now we played him. He was 0.4% owned. Made a ton of money off him, and he just kind of disappeared. So this is the type of tournament. Since he's a Mississippi boy, he's played this course a million times. You better believe the first thing I did was check to see if he had a sponsor exemption or something to get in here, and he did not. So I'm pretty upset about that because that was going to be my hidden gem down low at the 6K range.
That was a long backstory for nothing.
No, it's a big backstory for it. Would have been something. He would have top 5 here this week at 6K.
Like 45 people withdraw, he might get in there.
44 will withdrawal price. All right. Do you have any bets lined up for us, Bryce, or do we have to wait for that?
I like right now Ortiz is 60-1. For someone who has back-to-back top 5s, that's not a bad bet. And also, if he's one of those top 10 or top 20 on instead of an outright, there's a better chance of that hitting than obviously him winning, so it won't pay out as much. But for someone who's done well the last 2 years here, I feel like that number's a little too high. Other than that, Scotty's a little too short. He's 11-1.
Yeah, that's a little short.
So that's not really worth it unless you're going to play a double. And I haven't looked at the other tournaments going on. So unless you're going to parlay them with, whoever you think's going to win in Thursday night's barn burner of the Jets and Broncos.
Sam Darnold.
He better produce, Bryce. He better produce.
We'll talk about that.
He better not be this week's Cam.
Let's pass on Lamar and Patrick Mahomes and get
Darnold.
Hey, how'd you do in our Gus league?
Did great.
I got 0 freaking points, so I don't want to hear about it.
Ahead of both of you. 1 and 2.
If the 3 people that's watched it this far don't know, just say, hey, yo, I want to know what dumbass thing Dustin did in the comment section, and we'll for sure let you know what happened. Might even hit you up with a little PayPal action as well if you put in your handle there. So I like giving away free stuff.
Yes, he does.
Let's give away some free stuff. But I appreciate y'all watching. I didn't really sponsor too much of DFS Dads, but check us out on Facebook and Twitter. That's good enough. We'd appreciate that. Just go to the DFS Dads. Handle's the same for both Facebook and Twitter. We give out free play showdowns for PGA, showdowns for NFL for free on both of those platforms. Our top 3 captain picks. So at the very least, check that out. And let's go make some money off these Corn Ferry Tour studs that Price is going to be putting out. And you definitely, if you're not a member, go to dfsdads.com. Check out our deep dive on Wednesday. We're going to get a lot more analytical than what we did tonight, and it's going to be a great value for you. We do the research so you don't have to, and we'll see you in the fantasy sports land. Peace.